Okay. So Shanti, given that there has been a 1 day gap between our meeting, I'll just revise what I was talking about yesterday, day before yesterday when I closed the call. So remember in the last 5 minutes, we spoke about something called as dealing with relational business objects when building calculated fields. So our today's session is entirely focused on that. We'll be seeing how do we bring in data from related business objects onto our primary business objects in various ways. So we'll be looking at 4 different kinds of use cases and how each of the 4 different functions fit into those use cases to meet our requirement. So that's how we'll be approaching our today's session. And post that, I guess we have same ad hoc calculation that we need to look into, which we'll be covering tomorrow, and we'll be done with our entire calculated fields topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just start with the, if you're looking at this diagram presented here, it very well shows that from a primary business object, a primary business object can hold one-to-one relationship with some fields based on the related BO, or they can hold one-to-many relationship with some fields based on the business object. So if you can look at towards the left side of the screen, you would be seeing that many a times our requirement states that we not only bring in those fields which are directly built on the worker business object. Let's take worker business object as an example here. So many a times it's not that we are only bringing in the worker's last name, their hire date, their position details, or their language details, but we might have to go one level down and we might have to bring in data that is not built on that particular business object but one level down. So suppose what if your report requires you to either filter the report based on a secondary business object data for that worker. So suppose what if I'm looking at some position related details of the worker. What was so if the worker is sitting on suppose XYZ position, I want to see what is the position close date for that. So since that position close date is not directly available on the worker business object, we have certain calculations mechanisms available in Workday to help you achieve that. So this is how these certain calculations work. It's basically the end motive of all these calculation is to help us bring in that one level down or maybe two level down data into our reports via using these calculations. The 4 calculations we'll be completely focusing on today is lookup related value, extract single instance, extract multi-instance, and aggregate related instance. I will show you the use case when exactly do we use each of these kind of calculations, and based on that, let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Now it's not
Yeah.
just one level down data; it's also something called as maybe two level down. So let me give you an example. Okay. Uh, in Workday, okay, or in a normal environment, you enroll dependents, right, in your organization to avail those different kinds of benefit plans in your organization, correct? We do have nominations provided for PF. We do add people to be the nominees for our gratuity, correct? Or for
Yeah.
that matter, we do if our employer provides us under a lot of health benefits or insurance plan, we tend to add those our father, our parents, or our spouses and our kids to that plan, isn't it? So
Yeah.
those people are called as dependent in Workday. Now, what if my requirement in Workday is that we have to fetch the what do you call as the name, not just directly the dependent related details. We might have to fetch the birth date of those dependents, right? We might have to fetch what is the gender of those dependent, or for that matter, the marital status and things of those sort, right? So we are
Yes.
going here one level down. We are not directly fetching a particular detail on your primary business object. We are looking at a secondary business object, and based off that particular business object, we are fetching details of that particular business object. So you can always see it that way. But suppose my dependent happens to be in the same organizations. A lot of organizations do allow their spouses to work together, correct? And
Yes.
maybe it's something legal in requirement where I have to build report that if someone's spouses is working in the same organization, I have to fetch which organization, or suppose which cost center they are under and which supervisory org they are sitting in. Okay, suppose
Yeah.
this is my report requirement, and I want to pull the cost center code, I want to pull the superorg code on my report. Okay, so here I'm not just pulling the superorg name or the cost center name, I'm also pulling the code of these organizations, correct? Got it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I'm doing is I'm going two level down. First, I went one level down and I pulled the organization names and all those kind of details on the dependent data, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I went one level down further and then I pulled the codes of those organizations. Okay. So that way, it's not that these calculations help us only bring in data from one level down. It also lets you go multiple levels down based on a requirement. It'll be like a hierarchical structure that you will be looking through, and it helps you fetch data on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough said. Let me jump into the tenant and let's deal with our first use case, which happens to be a lookup related value function. So now
So,
lookup related,
Preeti,
yeah,
earlier while building at one of the reports, we discussed
yeah,
how to get the regular field from related business object.
yeah. That is a
Now
completely
we are
different. Yeah.
discussing on like how to get the calculated field from
Exactly.
the
So I
related
will tell you,
object.
that report was an advanced report. Okay. Now
Yeah.
advanced reports let you, give me a minute. Huh. So now advanced reports let you add your related business object and fetch field directly on that. Okay. Now suppose what if I have to build a field where I'm comparing two fields. One field is on a secondary business object and the other field is on a primary business object. Okay, suppose I'm building a true and false condition. Let's
Yeah.
talk like that, where I'm saying that the dependence age, we have to find all those workers where their dependence age is equal to their age. Okay, so now here in my this particular boolean or true and false condition, one field is coming from the related business object, right, and the other field is coming from the primary business object. Let me open my favorite tool here for you and let's use that to explain things. Okay, I'll delete all this data given we have already spoken about these. Okay, so suppose I'm comparing the dependent age to your worker's age. Okay, now in this particular instance, this is a true and false condition. Now true and false condition can only be built on work one business object, correct? We have to
Yeah.
bring this field on worker view. So I there is no means by which I can now pull this field on a dependent BO and without doing any calculation. It is under those kind of situations that we have to follow this route of using calculations like lookup related value or aggregate related instance. Understood? Yes,
Okay.
we do. Always, if you're building an advanced report and you are not stuck with any such scenario where you have no means than to go one level down and build a calculated field, you can easily, very well, just add the BO name and you can pull the field on that business object, then it's fine. But if you are stuck with such a situation, it's just to tell you that yes, there are mechanisms. It's not like it's a do or die situation and Workday doesn't support that kind of thing. But yes, you can do those kind of calculations in Workday. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, once we'll be building matrix report and trended reports tomorrow, not tomorrow, day next week, I'll show you that those reports don't even support. They don't let you pull a secondary business object in that means. You have to have, in order to bring fields built of other related business objects, you have to build these calculations. There's no other way of it possible. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the tenant. I'm going to talk about today all is lookup related value. Now, lookup related value is a means to bring a field which is built on a related business object, but that related business object field has to be of nature single instance. They can only be of type single instance for us to bring that field. If at all it's a multi-instance field, then we will have to either convert it into a single instance field, but you cannot use a multi-instance field in a lookup related value function, and I'll show you how. Okay.
Okay.
My requirement here is that I have to find the date difference between my manager's hire date and the worker's hire date. Okay. So this is my requirement here, date difference between the manager's hire date. Okay. Got it? So this
Yeah.
is my entire scenario here, and this has to be a field in my report. Now, of course, like I showed you earlier, this manager's hire date is not a delivered field available on worker. So the only option here is me to take a calculated field route over here. So let me first build a date difference field here. The report is built on worker with the primary business object. So my field will also be built off worker BO. Okay. Which particular function we should be choosing, Shranti?
I think date constant.
No, we are doing a difference. We are finding difference. It should be a
Okay, date
date difference
difference.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And this date difference should be in months.
Okay.
Okay. That's another criteria. Now my start date happens to be manager hire date. I know that there is no delivered field in Workday for that. So I'm immediately using the option of create calculated field from here. I'm going to call it as manager hire date. The business object here is going to be worker again, given that I have to bring this field on the worker primary business object. My business object here will be worker. And my function here will be lookup related value. The reason I'm saying it has to be a lookup related value is because I know that there is one-to-one relationship between the manager and the worker. In Workday, until unless you're not on multiple position, you are not assigned multiple managers. Your primary managers happens to be only and only one person. Here I'm only looking at the primary manager here. Only if you are in under a matrix model structure or anything of that sort, then only you get to get a matrix manager, which is I don't see many organizations going down that route. It's slightly complex route in Workday, so not many people do like to implement that model. But yeah, if you are on multiple, so suppose healthcare workers or any hospital or any life sciences and healthcare clients, they too tend to support these multiple position model. A doctor can be physicist and they can be a surgeon both, so all those kind of things. So in that case, you might have additional managers, but right now I'm only concerned with primary manager here. Primary manager is the person who happens to be the manager of your primary position. Okay, so I
Okay.
am going to show you something over here. I'm going to type just the manager word, and I just want to show you something what I want to explain. If you will see this entire list, all the symbols, only and only single instance fields are coming here.
Yeah.
Only and only single instance. The reason being lookup related value works on only single instance field. You cannot bring in data using lookup related value if your field is a multi-instance. Always remember that, like itch it on your brain somewhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to remember that. If you are looking to bring value on a multi-instance field, you will have to go down a different route. We'll have to use a different calculation. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, for a single instance, it has to be lookup related value. So right now, I'm only concerned with my primary manager, who happens to be my immediate manager. I'm not going one level above them or two level or three level above them. I'm only concerned with my immediate manager. The description reads the immediate manager for the worker's primary position. Perfect. I'm only concerned with my what do you say, my primary position manager. So I'm going to select this particular field. Now I want to show you something. The moment I selected manager level 1, it gave me the RBO as worker. Okay, so if you will open this field, you can see here that the business object on which this field is built is worker. What this denotes and why you have to understand this very well is because whatever field will come over here, it'll be determined which is the RBO for this field. So you can only bring those fields which have their business object as worker in the return value. If this field would likely be happen to be position or organization, you can only bring those fields over here which are built of the organization business object or your position business object. Okay,
Okay.
understood? So it's
Yeah.
very important to understand that what all fields are coming here are either they are built on global BO, which will be obviously under your global fields category, but the rest others are those which will be built of this related business object. Okay.
Okay.
So I know I have a very nice field called hire date available on worker BO. So I'm just going to pull that hire date and bang on, I have that over here. And yes, here I am. I am pulling on the, so how you have to understand the structure of this field is on the worker business object. I am pulling my manager's hire date. Okay, that's how you have to understand it. On the worker business object, I am pulling the worker's manager's hire date. Understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions before I click on OK? Because it's going to take us to our last page.
Yeah, but why is it showing related, like related business object can be anything right here?
No, it will be the business object on which this field is built. Since manager level 01 is built on worker BO, the related business object will be worker BO. Okay. If I would
Okay.
have, let me show you a different thing. If I would have pulled organization, so suppose I want to pull position details. Okay. So if I want to pull position details, I want to pull the position close date. Let me select the position. My related business object changed to position. The reason being because the related business object here is position. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever will be written here in this section will become the related business object here. Got it? And
Yeah.
now you will not see hire date on this particular position field. You will have to either go by category or anything of that sort. And those fields which are built of the position BO will come up here. Okay?
Okay. So for say if hire date is there on the position date, then it will be showing, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
then that will be a different field. Right now, the one I have selected is on the worker BO. Okay,
Yeah.
Workday is gonna throw error if I keep this same field. It's gonna say that the field you're choosing is not on that BO. So I'll have to look for the position related hire date field. Okay,
Okay.
there can be multiple fields with the same name, but you have to always click on these related action dots and see which is the BO they are built of. What's the description of that field to make sure that you are selecting the right field. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's click on OK. And here I am. I have successfully been able to fetch the manager's hire date. I was trying to find the difference between the manager's hire date and the worker's hire date. Since this field is already built off the worker business object, I don't have to do another calculation. I have to simply look for the worker's hire date over
Hire
here.
date. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the one that I'm fetching. It's built on the worker's BO. And this is where, oh, sorry. Now I want this date difference to be in months. So I simply click on months and I'm done. Return 0 on error and OK. Understood?
Yes. Yeah.
Let me pick up one more example for this purpose. Let me see if I have any finance related one that I can help you with. Yeah, we can pull one. Company organization code on journal line maybe.
Yeah, Preeti, one more thing, like whenever I am analyzing reports, when I'm looking, like they have
Hmm.
got normally this clients, they have some standards in naming the fields. So like here you have put a calculated field date difference, right?
Hmm.
Now normally they are giving like CF, LRV, date difference between manager hire date and
Yeah,
worker.
LR means they are the format here is calculated field, which function you are using, and then description of the field.
Okay.
That's their format. LRV basically it's in the SAT this format. It's calculated field, then the function. If you would have used a text constant, you would have written TC or text constant, howsoever they want to name it as. If you have used a true and false condition, you just written T/F and then the description of the field, what the field is about. Okay.
Okay, it's not just for LRV, they are using that thing. They might
No,
have
no, no. It's
they
they're
might have
always
put like,
denoting it with the function of which this field is built of.
okay, I might have not noticed that. Only for LRV thing I might have noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, so just ask your senior, whosoever there is, that what is the standard naming convention. They will tell you exactly how to build that. Many people don't prescribe anything and people start building it on their own convenience. But yeah, usually organizations have one. Okay.
Yeah. I have that info, like I have access to that document. I'll go and check. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now my next field for lookup related value is bringing in the companies, bringing in, no, I want you to do this actually. Let me put this for you. So your activity here is that on the journal line BO, pull the company's org code. Okay. It might just available as a field called code or a ref ID, whichever is available. Preferable will be code. So on the journal line BO, pull the company's org code using the allow function. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This is your activity. Got it?
Yeah.
Now let's look at our next particular function, which is extract single instance. Now, extract single instance happens to be a very widely used function across, what do we say, our reports. Extract single, so let me just do a recap for you. What is the difference between single instance and multi-instance? Single instance is that particular field which stores only one value for that worker. Like they can only sit in one position, they can only have one manager, they can only sit in one supervisory org, they can have only one salary plan and things of those sort. Okay. So anything and everything for which the value returned for the worker will be only one in number, that's single instance field. Many a times, worker has multi-instance fields, like they can have more than one kind of dependence, right? They might have enrolled their parents plus their spouse. They can have more than one degree, correct? They might
Yes.
be they might be a graduate plus a master's plus a PhD. So they have more than one kind of degree sitting on their profile. They can have
So in this
yeah.
case, degree will be a multi-instance
Yes,
field.
yes. So
Okay.
if a particular field is returning more than one value for a worker, it's a multi-instance field. Now suppose from that multi-instance field, I have to only pull a particular value for that particular object. Okay. So from the dependents, let's imagine I have to only pull dependents which are of relationship type spouse. Okay. I have to only pull the dependent who has a relationship of spouse with my employee. Okay. So even though the worker might have three dependents, his father, mother, and spouse, I have to only see who is the spouse. And there is no delivered field in Workday that says that spouse. So you can just directly use that field spouse and pull their spouse's name. No. Spouses in Workday are stored as dependents, but if I will use the dependents field, it's going to show me the name of all the dependents that they have, their fathers, their mothers, and the spouse's name. But my requirement is that I only want to see their spouse's detail. Okay. In such situation, when I am slicing and dicing a multi-instance field to only look at one single instance of that multi-instance based on a condition, that is when we call it as a extract single instance field. Basically, you're extracting one particular instance of a multi-instance based on a particular condition. Understood?
Okay. Yeah. For
So let
example,
me just,
the place
yeah,
where I work, it's a medical school. So one can
okay,
be a doctor, one can be a professor, one can be a researcher,
okay,
one can be a
okay,
postdoc. So he has got
okay,
four positions.
okay. And you want to pull the position which is
If
of
he's a doctor or
type,
not,
which
yeah,
perfect. You understood it very well, related it back very well. Yes,
yeah.
that's how it will be. Okay, okay. So now let me show you. Let's consider this example of dependent only, and let me build a field for you. Okay. I'll also start naming the field the way it's named for, so that you get under the habit of CF ECI. Dependent is spouse. Okay. This is
Yeah.
the field I'm going to build. Of course, I'm building it on the worker BO because dependents sit on either employer worker business object. The function I'm using is called as extract single instance, which is right over here. Source field. Now I know that I'm pulling one instance of my dependent field. So I'll be using the Workday delivered dependent field here. Also, Chandi, while I'm building this, my one ask from you is that um, go and look at those kind of fields in your tenant which are not using just delivered fields in the source fields, but many a times you have to build calculated fields in the source field. So you might just open a ECI field or LRV and see how these calculated. That way now you will be able to understand hierarchy of fields. You will be
Okay.
able to relate back more and more, and when the situation comes to you, you will be able to think instantly in that direction. Okay. Right now,
Okay.
I'm just pulling these Workday delivered fields, but maybe a dependent would have not been a Workday delivered field, correct? I will show you tomorrow when I'm building a lookup organization field and all those kind of things. Maybe Workday dependent would have not have been. I would have to fetch dependent in a way. Maybe I have to build another EMI, or maybe I have to build something. other calculation to bring this field here. Okay. Now,
Okay.
yeah, that done.
So
What I have
if
to
we
say
want
is,
to create a calculated field, we have to go back to again create a calculated field, or
yeah,
here.
open a duplicate tab, create a calculated field, note down the name, and just copy paste here. You have to ensure that field should have been built on the same business object which you're using here
Yeah.
to be reflected here. Okay.
Okay. Same like
Now,
creating a
one thing to,
calculating field,
yeah,
calculated
yeah,
field. Yeah.
yeah. The one thing to note here is for creating extract single instance, your source field also has to be only EMI in nature. Means they have to be a multi-instance field. You cannot bring in a single instance and then again slice and dice it to be a single instance. Not possible
Okay.
technically, right? Because that field is already storing one value. What are you going to slice and dice in that? So Workday
Yeah.
only lets you perform this single instance calculations on fields which are of type multi-instance. How you can identify if it's multi-instance? This particular sign here says it's a multi-instance. The field type here says it's a multi-instance. Okay.
Yeah.
So even if you are creating a what do you say, a calculated field, ensure it's of type multi-instance to be used in a ESI calculation. Okay. Okay. Now the moment I selected dependence, my related business object became uh, dependent over here. Okay. Now, what was the condition that I was trying to fetch? I was trying to fetch dependents who have a relationship of spouse with the worker, correct? That is the
Yeah.
dependent I was. So this condition field basically denotes on what condition should Workday look for to slice and dice this data. What is a condition? If I will say just now, there are two ways of doing it. If the client would have said that just give me the first dependent who happens to come up in the dependent field value, I had no condition here ideally. I had to just pull the first instance of the dependent. So suppose if I have built the report, okay, I have built the report and I have, suppose the report definition looks like this. Where did I go? Yeah. So suppose I have built the, this is my BO column and this is my field column. Okay. I have built the report here. I have fetched the name of the dependents on this field. Now this field is giving me, suppose Shravanti, here is your worker name and you have suppose three dependents, Shanti. You're getting ABC, your father name first, then you're getting XYZ, your mother's name first, second, and then you're getting your husband's name. Okay, that's
Yeah.
how you're getting your dependents. And then you're getting your husband's name. I'm just gonna type husband. Okay. Now, what my requirement is that just pull me the first instance of the field which is coming under the dependent value. Means they want to see ABC. If husband's name would have come first, they would have reflected the husband's name over here. Okay. So many a times the condition is not very clearly stated. It might be just the first instance, second instance, or the third instance. So if that is a requirement, what you have to do here is, yeah, what you have to do here is you have to just select this field to say is true. Okay, so yeah, what I was saying that let me first give explain you the first scenario that I was talking about. That I have to pull the very first dependent which is coming under my dependent field, right? So here I have no condition. All I know is that I have to pull the very first dependent. So I will just say condition is true simply that is true means that basically it's just a condition you fill when you don't have a specific condition. Sort field is nothing. So or suppose they would have said that pull me the dependent which happens to be eldest in the age. Okay, pull me the dependent. So I would have put the sort field to be age here. I want to sort the dependent based on their age, and then I want the eldest one to come up, right? So means descending first occurrence, because obviously age will be if the eldest one has to come first, I want the first occurrence of the descending order, right?
Yeah.
Larger, smaller, and then the smallest, correct? Or else ascending last occurrence, of course, because if it's ascending, the smallest, then these younger one, then the eldest one. You're getting it?
Yeah.
That way. So either way, that would have been a sort field. If they would have not mentioned that sort them on the age order also, I would have mentioned a is true condition here as well. Simply, I would have said is true, and I would have just said that pull me the first occurrence from the descending. Descending means from the first to last, give me the first occurrence. Okay. So I would have just said first occurrence from the descending order, and I would have got that dependent who comes first in the descending order in the tenant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But If they say that I want the eldest one to come up, so I would have mentioned the sorting field here to be age, and I would have uh, done it that way. Okay,
Okay.
understood? But
Yeah.
now here I have a specific condition to look into. I have to pull this person who has the relationship of spouse with this
Yes.
worker. So I have to create a true and false. This field will always be a true and false condition. So what I'm going to do is, and one more thing to notice, your true and false condition should always be created on the related business object. It will not be created on the, 2 minutes. It will not be created on the primary business object. It has to be created on your related business object. Understood? Means
Oh,
this true and false field that I'm building will be built on the dependent BO and not the worker BO. Okay?
yeah.
So always remember this while doing extract single instance and multi-instance as well. CF true and false, relation of dependent is spouse. Business object here is dependent. See. Since that was the related BO there, I have selected dependent as a business object, and the true and false condition is this. And here it happens to be, now what I have to see, that the relationship has to be spouse. So I'll just see if there is a relationship field here. Or Shanti, I hope you have not forgot it, contextual reporting. If you don't know which field to use and you know where the data is stored in Workday, just go click on reporting fields and values and see if there is a field that is giving you that value. Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
There is single
That
instance.
yeah, that's yeah, so it's a single instance field. That's completely fine. I'm not worried about this field will show anything true and false. You don't have to worry about what type of field in the
Okay.
selection list, because I'm looking at something. I want this condition to be true, so in the selection list, and see, these are the many relationship types configured in the tenant. It can be aunt, domestic partner, child, ex-spouse, friend, other, parent, sibling, same-sex spouse, spouse, uncle. I'm only considered with spouse, so I want the relationship to be spouse. Had I did not want the relationship to be spouse, I would have selected not in the selection list, but I want the relationship to be spouse, so in the selection list. Another thing I want you to recall, always use frequently used rather than using all, so that you don't get confused. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to click on OK. And here I am, I have built. Now here I don't want the sorting to be by a age. I want the sorting to be that this condition should be true. So my sort field here will be is true. Okay,
Yeah.
is true. I want the first occurrence from the top. That's why descending first occurrence. Had I wanted the first occurrence from the below, I would have selected ascending. Had I wanted a specific occurrence, so suppose this worker has just a very, I will say, hypothetical situation. Suppose this worker has 3 spouses, okay, and I want the middle one to come up here. Then I would have said specific occurrence, descending specific occurrence. Which occurrence? It should be second one. Okay,
Second. Yeah.
yeah, if you wanted it to be, you want to denote one particular number, this will usually come for you in use when you're pulling position details. So like you said that here in med school you can have 3 to 4 positions, right? And you don't know what is the name of the position, you just want to, you know that it's the third position from the top. So that way you can extract it by telling Workday to pull the third specific occurrence of 3 for that
Yeah.
position. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
so I'm going to click on OK, and here we are with our extract single instance. Also, Shravanti, remember, whichever field I'm building, sit on your weekend and pull these fields in your reports. Most of them will be worker ones, and see how each of them look for you in that report. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, our next calculation here is extract multi-instance. So just
So
like, yeah.
one more thing, Preeti. So if I do the same thing, since they have provided me access, if like I shouldn't be creating all these fields, right, on my
No,
like
no.
client's
You
tenant.
can just you type the name of the field and it'll show up. In the recording you'll be able to see now what I named this. Just type it and you'll be able to see.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
don't have option to create a calculated fields, right? I don't
You
like if
don't
I
have
create
that option.
something goes wrong, like if I
Yeah,
create a calculated field, it will be saved, right? So like
but you
on
don't
this
see
tenant,
your own calculated field.
Yeah, like whatever you are doing, my
Hmm.
question is that if I do something on my client's tenant, like it will be saved,
Oh,
right?
there. Yeah, it will be saved,
Yeah.
but if you feel that it is not the correct one, just go here. Since you're not using it in your report, after you have done your practice, just go and delete it from here immediately after that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
In case I'm telling,
In
although I'll
case, in
practice
case,
on this only. Yeah.
yeah. If they have given you access to this tenant, why not this tenant?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
I'll I'll practice on this tenant only. The only
Yeah.
difference is like I'll get half of, because this one I am taking on my personal PC. Like I have other working doc
Okay.
and two monitors there. So in between, if
Okay.
I get some time, I can go and practice there. So
Okay.
which
Okay. Got it.
I usually have always access to my, like it will be handy, no? That's why. Yeah.
Okay. That way. Okay. So the next thing we are looking at is extract multi-instance. Multi-instance is almost similar as single instance. The only difference is instead of pulling one instance from the multiple figure, I am pulling more than one instance. So suppose if my requirement says that, let me name it this way. The you are the worker. This is the father for your dependent. This happens to be your mother, and this happens to be your uh, female child, and this happens to be your male child. Okay, this way.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
these are the five dependents you have added in your system. Okay,
Yeah.
and I, instead of pulling just a husband or a mother or a father, I have to pull both father and mother in this. Okay, or
Yeah.
suppose you have two female childs. Let me show it to you that way. You have two female childs. Okay, and they are saying that pull me those dependents which have relationship of child and has gender female. Okay, and they are not saying that it has to be a single instance field. They are saying that if they have more than one child which happens to be female, show me all of them. So whenever they say that I just want to see one instance, then you go with single instance field, or you also have to apply your brains, right? If you're not sure that if the particular person has one kid only as female, or it can also have more than one kid as a of gender female, then always follow the safe route. But here, since or you can do is you can create this report and you saw that there are two female child that this person has, correct, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to now pull both the female child, so you cannot use extract single instance, right? Because it will just give you one value. You want both the female. You do want to extract something out of this multi-instance field. Of course, you do not want to show all the five values in your report. You only want to show these two values, but you have to extract it anyway. You are doing an extraction here, right? But what,
Yeah.
you are extracting multiple instances from this field, correct? Not a
Yes.
single instance. So in that situation, you will use a female, what do you say, you will use a multi-instance, and I want these childs to be sorted by age. When I'm doing the multi-instance, I want them to be sorted by age. Okay,
Yes.
now I will show you something. Now let me go and create this field.
See a female child.
Or let me write female children because it can be more than one. Okay,
Yeah.
again the dependents are on the worker BO, and I'll be selecting extract multi-instance here. Now this is very very important to understand. Okay, each of these functions, so hear me out very well. Okay,
Yeah.
these operation types are of multiple ways, and I'll give you a different example for each of them because I cannot really. Okay, I can give it with dependence also. Okay, so if you are pulling subset means you have learned this thing called, right, what do we call,
Join in a
yeah, join and
union.
union, right? You
Yeah.
know those diagrams. Yeah, I'm forgetting
Yeah.
my school based knowledge. Anyway, so you know that, right? So I'm going to do something like this for you. Okay, when do we use subset function? When we have a whole, I would say, we have a bigger circle. This bigger circle has what? All the dependents, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the biggest circle to have all the dependents. I cannot really draw a circle here, but out of that circle I have to only pull a particular subset of it, right? So here I'm just pulling the children, right? So in
Yeah.
that in that dependence, then I will use subset as operation type. Okay, The next operation type happens to be intersection. Okay. Now intersection is when I want two particular circles from value from two different circles in this. Okay. So suppose I have female dependence. Okay. One circle is female dependence and the other circle is male dependence. Okay.
Okay.
These are the two circles. Now out of this, I want dependence of type parents in this. Okay. Of course, parents, my mother will fall under female, my father will fall under male, right? So
Yeah.
I have to pull all the dependents from both the circles who happens to be of type parent. So in that situation, I'll be using the subtype to be intersection. Okay. Then the next subtype we have is except, means out of two values. Let me not use dependent now here because that's difficult to understand. Except is means I am leaving out a particular section of two circles. Okay. So let me take up a example of benefit. Okay. Now every employee in Workday or every employee in an organization has two kinds of benefit. First, benefit for which they are eligible. Okay. Me
Yeah.
being a female, I might be eligible for a lot of maternity benefits as well, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And the other circle is the benefits for which I have enrolled myself, means which are currently active. But maybe right now I am not planning for a maternity break, or maybe I don't have a child. I'm a single woman. I'm not married. And so I have enrolled myself in maybe those benefits which are applicable for me right now. So in this particular list, if I only want to pull those particular ones, the benefits which I am only which I'm eligible for, but I have only enrolled in them. Okay. In that situation, I'll be using except. Okay. So in
Okay.
that situation, we use the function subtype to be except. Then comes union. Union is very easy to understand. You are basically not leaving out anything. You are pulling everything from both the circles. Okay. So
Yeah.
suppose a worker has different roles for them, right? You will have a manager in the organization, you will have a HR partner in the organization, right? And you might have a performance partner in the organization who looks after your performance details. And I want to so suppose a worker has they have been assigned a manager, they have been assigned a HR partner, and they have been assigned a talent partner to look after their talent related issues. And I want Workday to give me all these three together. In that way, I'll just do a union. You're getting it? So
Yes. Yeah.
this is what each of these subtypes means. You will use a subtype subset when from the bigger circle you're only extracting a smaller
Small part.
circle. You will
Okay.
use the intersection when there are two different circles, and from those two different circles you want just a particular part of those two circles. You'll use an except when there are two circles, but from that two circles you only it's more like intersection, but it's like I'm leaving the other circle and a some part of my first circle outside. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then comes my union when I'm not leaving out anything. I want both the circles to come into the picture. Okay.
Okay. It's
Okay.
like sounds to me like we use like inner join, left join, right join. Is that
Correct.
similar concept?
Exactly like that.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So this is
Yeah.
about it. So Shanti, can you help me understand for our dependent situation where I'm pulling two female children from all the dependents, or not two female children, all the female children from all the dependents? What operation type will fit into the picture?
Union.
Why? Maybe can I understand the logic on this? So a worker has five dependents: husband,
Yeah.
wife, no, sorry, wife, mother, father, and two children. And they
Yes.
both happen to be female children. I only want the two female children to come up. So what should be the subtype here? The operation type should be, what should be the operation type here basically?
Yeah. Actually, it should be. I am thinking it should be subset because you are pulling only part of the
Correct. The
dependence.
entire circle. Correct. So it will
Yeah.
be subset.
Subset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now my source field will of course be dependent. Now, again, I have to state a true and false condition here. Okay. I have to state a true and false condition here. So what is the condition? That they have to be first they have to be of relationship type children, and the second that the gender should be female. Okay, so I'm going to create a true and false condition, and you will help me create the condition. I'll name it as CF relation. I'm just going to name it as female children. What should be the business object?
Worker.
Why?
Because dependents are part of worker.
No, the business object, let me go back and show you. The dependents are being created. The true and false condition is, oh God, I missed the entire point. Let me just do this. Okay. Yeah. So the source field here is dependent, right? I'm pulling an instance of those dependents, right?
Yeah.
So my true and false condition should be, why should it be built on worker? Remember, I
Okay.
said
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
should
Related.
always be built on the
Yeah.
related business
Sorry.
object.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah. True and false
Okay.
condition should be built on. I noted that point also. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be true and false. So what will I choose here now?
Dependents.
Yep. The function should be, it's a condition, right? I
Yeah.
want a particular condition to be true or false. So what function should I be choosing here?
Boolean.
Yeah, Boolean. Since I'm building a true and false condition here, I'll
Yeah.
be choosing a Boolean. Now tell me, there are two conditions to be met here. First, the gender should be female. Second, the relationship should be of type child. So what should I type here? What should my immediate
Gender.
instinct to
Gender.
be? Gender,
Gender.
exactly. What should be the operator? From where should I choose?
Frequently used
Perfect. Which operator should I be choosing from here?
in the
I want the
selection
gender
list.
to be, yeah, because I want the gender to be female. So I want it to be in the selection list. Now this is here.
Female.
Select. Okay. Now my second condition should be, now tell me, should it be an and or a or? This condition.
It should be and because
I
both the
want it to be
conditions should be
gender. Yeah,
female
because
and
I want both
relationship
the things to be.
true.
Yeah, because I want both the conditions to be true, not either one to be true. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm using and here.
Relation.
This server gets on my head. Tomorrow, Shanti, you'll be fine extending a bit, na? If the if I, because I want to finish calculated fields this week. I don't want to drag it to next week. We are already lagging behind our schedule.
Yeah. If it's 5 minutes, that's fine because I have stand up at
No,
9.
no, tomorrow, Saturday, you have stand up.
Okay. No, no, no. Saturday you're talking. Okay, okay.
Yeah, today I'll
Now
leave you. I'll just finish this field and I'm gonna check it because I remember you have stand up.
I'm
I
thinking
don't know which
today.
one I'm
Tomorrow I'm
creating.
fine. Tomorrow I'm like if you take 2 classes also, I'm fine.
Yeah, not two. I will finish it, but I might have to extend because I'm finishing calculated fields
Yeah.
this week. I don't want to drag it to next week. Okay, I have to
Okay.
again make this. The server is not working today, yaar.
So if this is completed, we will be finishing calculated fields or we still have
Yeah, so you remember it, right, Shanti, how I built it? I pulled and then I created this true and false
same
condition.
as for
And
the
that,
single instant
yeah,
attraction.
the multi-instance same. But here in multi-instance, there is no sorting. They don't
Okay.
let you sort anything. All you have to mention is the true and false condition. But I will give you an activity for this.
But
Okay?
but I'm
Yeah.
thinking there could be a sorting because when there are two female, like in our example, like there
Hmm.
will be a age, right? Like elder
So
one should
what? How you can sort it in the report itself? You will see a sort, right? You see
uh,
a sort field in the report, right? In that, you can create your own sort. You can go there and say that I want to sort this field by age. You can do your own sorting. Okay?
okay.
So you can sort it. In the report itself, you can sort it. Okay? So this
Yeah.
is how it is. Yep. So that's enough for today.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay
Yeah.
then. Okay. Thank you
Okay
so
then.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.